Welcome to Movers and Shakers with your host, me, Dr. Kim Bess.
And highlight the violence that takes place in and outside and around our public schools. The violence has gotten tremendously out of control, and we the coalition, we the Blameless Families Occupy movement, are here to say that we are sick and tired of being sick and tired. When I say don't shoot, you say New York. Don't shoot, New York. Don't shoot, New York. When I say peace up, you say guns down. Peace up, guns down. Peace up, guns down. Don't shoot, New York. Don't shoot, New York.
Welcome to Movers and Shakers. I'm your host, Dr. Kim Bess. We have a special guest here this evening, Sophia Durrell, who is a community advocate. Our topic this evening will be about change. Sophia Durrell, welcome to Movers and Shakers.
Well, I thank you so much, Dr. Best, for this invitation. It's truly an honor to be here this evening at the Thornhill Community Center. Mr. Ivan Bannister, a wonderful director and leader, 1467 Bedford Avenue between Park and Sterling. It's my first time here. And I remember this neighborhood from some years ago, Dr. Best, and talk about change. Well, right across the street is the New Tabernacle Church. I remember that used to be a high-fashion ladies' store. And I remember that this just simple storefront here, and as I walked in and saw the many spaces for privacy, and yet such a intimate place, I could see the change that Ivan Bannister wanted to see, not only in this building, but in his community. You know, we have to continue to build, I believe. We have to continue to build to make a positive impact on our communities.
Now, I'd just like to just interrupt you for a minute. When you say build, what would you can you just clarify that a little bit better in terms of be a little bit specific?
By building, continue to build, I don't just mean in a concrete way, that physical building that you can visualize.
Okay.
Continue to build. We need to build our minds, our spirit. We need to build up our economic standards. We need to build up our academic necessities so that our children will be motivated to empower themselves to build a better future. You know, Dr. Best, I consider myself one of the elders or the legends in this community. And I want to send this message out to a lot of the youngins out there. You know, I don't know where you're at today. I don't know what you're doing today. But it's so important at this point of life to stay in school. School's out for the summer. Don't let it stop you from reading a book, from getting to know another place in your community. Here in Bed-Stuy, we are saturated with history. We have art fairs that are out on Utica Avenue, I believe it is. We have our Grand Army Plaza library. And then every weekend we have the wonderful open market that's there.
Well, Ms. Durrell, I would like to ask a question. Why do you think so many of our young people are dropping out of school and so many of our young people are not advancing? You know, I mean, this is like an ongoing problem. And, you know, we want change, but change is not happening fast enough with our children and our youths.
You know, I'd like to respond to that because what has happened, the individual themselves is nurtured in the home. And if the morals, if the education itself within that home doesn't change, it's going to be left behind and stagnant. And you're only as knowledgeable as the things you are exposed to.
My name is Joseph Springfield, one of the founders of Imagebox Films. Here at Imagebox Films, we produce a show called Provoking Styles, where profiles different artists, rappers, singers, skateboarders. Just come down to Imagebox Films, and we'll help you get your talent on to the next level. Just call us. Our number's at the top of the screen. Tell us from you about this, about how you feel about it.
Oh, one, I feel a little distraught because you're talking about a sister from our community, a life that was taken for, no apparent reason. She had nothing to do with what that beef was about, and to turn around. She's a hero in our light because she turned around and saved kids that weren't even hers, but she did exactly what the village is supposed to do, take care of the village. And unfortunately, the ultimate sacrifice was her losing her life. So we all have to come together to make light of this and what have you, because we can't afford to allow that to continue again. We cannot allow another child, another woman, another senior, or anybody from our community to be taken out of here, because these young brothers out here who have no idea about how valuable life is out here just flauntingly going around and beefing with cats over stupidness and then killing people that they're not even intending to hit.
Welcome back, Movers and Shakers. I'm your host, Dr. Kim Bess. We have our guest back with us here this evening, Sophia Durrell, and we wanted to talk about change. I want to ask you a question, Ms. Durrell.
Sure.
What do you feel will be the change for our President Obama?
Well, that's a very interesting and timely question, Dr. Bess. I'll tell you, one of my favorite quotes was from him. He was about change. It's time for change. Personally, I'd like to say that I've enjoyed his 4 years of presidency. He had a lot to clean up. I need to go on to say, though, whether you like him or not, you better get out and vote like you did 4 years ago. Because even if you don't like him, your alternative is Romney. Your alternative. And do you really want another 4 years of the same type of bushmanship that presidency for 8 years brought to us?
But now, I just wanted to say this here too. There's a lot of controversy right now with Obama, and people are having mixed, emotions about him coming in for the next 4 years. And people are saying that they don't want to vote for Obama, and some people are saying that they want to go towards the Republican, slate. I mean, what do we do at this point? It seems to be like the United States is going to be divided in some sense.
In order for us to build that positive change, we need to do what Obama said. We need to make that change. We make that change first by defining who we are. Very simple. You can have your positive side and your negative side. Define who you are. And then choose your strongest point and be that. If you gonna be a merchant, be the best merchant you can be. If you're gonna be a bully, well, go on and be the biggest bully. And you figure out what the consequences of your choice of character and behavior. You just know you got consequences coming.
Now, there's another topic that's very hot about the decision that Obama made about the gay rights and marriage.
Yes.
And it's so much of a controversy with the ministers in the ministry, and as well as people in general. What are your views of his decision to grant gays in marriage?
I believe that every human being has the right to choose who they want to be with, who they love, and who they're going to build families with. Now, there's been so many hate crimes against gays. They have finally united, and as a matter of fact, the Gay Rights Act actually came about from studying our very own civil rights bill. And you see that they've succeeded in many, many ways. Not just talking about what their choice of gender is and who they choose to love, but they talk about human rights. And so Obama stated something that was very profound, that he could have said something that said, it's private, I don't wish to talk about it, but even that would tell. He made a good move. He made a bold move.
But now the question that I have for you: do you think this will affect the election?
Oh, absolutely. There's the positive side and the negative side. The good side is that the gays and the lesbians are going to know that this is a president who is honest. And of course, they're going to want somebody who is a policymaker to step up and be there so that they can continue to accomplish their goals. The negativity that's going to come out of it, and which it already has,
Yes, it
from
has.
the Romney camp, and we know what his religious beliefs are, that as a Mormon, this is not tolerated. We need to go on to say, though, this is not a religious act. This is a human act. And every human being has a right to make choices in life. And their choices will bring them rewards or consequences.
Okay, I want to thank you for your comments.
Well, again,
And,
Dr. Best, it's always a pleasure to be here. I just wanted to add one more thing before we complete the show. A very important person, Michael Jackson, once made a song, and he said, if you want to see the world be a better place, take a look at yourself, and you make that change. And so today I challenge each and every listener to define themselves and make that change.
I want to thank you, Sophia Durrell, for your comments, and we're going to take a break at this time. We'll be back.
This is my place. Come on in. Let's see what happens. We got a tilapia with rice and broccoli and a half rat. Yo! Where's my knife? Hey, we have no appetite, but we're doing it at the same time. Well, we need a good appetizer, so I'm about to sell all the food at the same time. All right. Fuck my 4 main footage.
Okay, welcome back to Movers and Shakers. Your host, Dr. Kim Bass, with special guest Sophia Durrell. Miss Durrell,
Yes.
how are you, dear?
Well, I'm doing just fine. I'm loving our conversation.
Yeah, but I wanted to just ask you a question. I have another topic that's something that has been bothering me for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
The topic is really on charter schools. What is your views of charter schools and the public system today?
Dr. Best. Formal education, that's going to take me back historically. So before we talk today, a little history. Historically, education led that child to be a producer. So if your education was on the acreage of the plantation, then that was your education. That's all you had to know. You weren't even allowed to know how to read. And if your education came because your mama happened to be in the big house, well, that's all you were supposed to do, is take care of master. Well, of course, we know what happened. Slavery was ended, and the life of agriculture now switched to an age of industrialization. So now what the schools, what do? They've got to take these little minds and mold them to make sure they get out into the factories instead of the fields and do the work that's needed to build America. Well, here we are now in the new millennium, and there's some who still farm, but they're farming for the good of all, and they get paid a good price when they go to market. And then there are those who are still in the industry. Mostly they're the newcomers to our country, so they have an opportunity to live that American dream. But because we are in a new millennium and technology is global, information is at the touch of a finger now. Our children need to be taught. Now, the public school system was simply made for that. Either there was the academic program, the commercial program, and the general program. If you were academic, you were going on to college. If you were commercial, you were going to be somebody's secretary. And if you were general, you were going to be that burger flipper.
Now, I'd like to just interject something, Mr. Rowe. The teachers union is having a problem with the charter schools and the public schools system.
Yes.
And I think one of the problems is that basically is that the schools are now housed with 4 schools in one school.
Yes.
You have kindergarten with high school, you have junior high, all mixed up together.
Yes.
And I think it has caused a phenomenal problem with our children and also with the educational system. So my question to you is that, Bloomberg implemented this here program.
Yes, he did.
He implemented this program. And I just think that we need to talk about trying to go back the old way.
Well, Dr. Best, I disagree with you on that. I disagree with you because I came from an inner city school, Thomas Jefferson, right here in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the huge and vastness of that school just coming out of junior high. Couldn't really get used to the halls. But I tell you what, I see Thomas Jefferson today. They have the high school for civil rights, and they have another choice for the youth, which is fire department, right there in that school. And each school has a floor of its own. This way, the students get to know each other. The teachers, more importantly, get to know the very personalities of the children, and the parents now have gotten more involved. The problem doesn't stem from the schools anymore. It stems from the quality of education that our children have been getting. And many parents today see that their child is not going to make it in the New York City public school system. And now, hence, are the charter schools. I think they're marvelous.
Well, I think one of the problems that people are having with the charter schools is that their children are mixed up with kids that's not on the same age level. I would agree that charter schools may be better, but I do not agree with the fact that you have to put all of the kids into these schools with different ages. You have kindergarten kids with high school kids.
Yes.
Now, just recently, there has been a lot of incidents whereas the kids are being bullied.
Yes.
Okay? I have a problem with that. I have a real big problem. I think that if you're going to have 4 and 5 schools into the public schools or into a school, let everybody be on the same level. If you're going to have junior high school, let everybody be on a junior high school level. If you're going to have kindergarten, let everybody be on a kindergarten level. I don't think that we should mix high school with kindergarten, because it has created so much problems. And I think that's where the teachers, the UFT, is having a problem with Bloomberg's decision of putting the schools together.
Well, again, I can only reach back into my personal experiences. And I need to say that 2 of my daughters went to a school like that, and they were different ages. And this is why. Because there were some young ones who were perhaps on a 3rd grade reading level who could read better than a 6th grader. And that 3rd grader's math might have been just 3rd grade, but then that 6th grader would teach them. The kids usually wind up partnering up. The charter schools, having the different ages all combined in one building, I believe is beneficial, because we all have our learning experiences. New York City Board of Education is all about testing. Well, there has to be a standard. There has to be a standard, and you should have to pass that standard. But to limit the growth of information that a person takes in, it's not fair if there's no exchange.
Well, I kind of beg to differ, because you see, it's based on the educator that's teaching that particular course, because you have kids that will excel at different ages. You may have 3rd graders that may be doing work on a 6th grade level. What I'm just trying to say to you is that I know I've been getting a lot of complaints about a lot of the problems that has arise into these schools being mixed up like that. I'm not saying that a child cannot advance or do well, because we have children that are very talented, okay, and they are awarded grants and so forth and everything. But I just have a problem just mixing the kids up like that. I really do. Only because it attracts other elements like bullying, kids picking, and at the same time, with the charter schools, I mean, how much can you really?
I get your point. I totally get your point. But here again, our topic of change. I'm hearing from you that there are behavioral problems that begin to take place.
Yes.
Okay, but these behavioral problems and those who are bullying are usually the ones with low self-esteem. Once this youth is identified as that bully or causing behavioral problems within a class, there are disciplinary measures that should be taken. These charter schools, just not anybody can come in. The child has to be tested for it. There's the parents and the child are interviewed. So if for some reason a child is chosen because they seem like they would all melt in a pot together, and all of a sudden there's one bad apple, then the consequences again is that child needs to be disciplined, be given a fair warning. If the behavior doesn't change, there it is again. They should.
No, what happens, Mr. L? That child is taken out of the charter school and placed in the public system.
Now, it sounds
know what I mean?
like it's punishment. I understand.
Yeah.
But the discipline.
And it shouldn't be.
Okay, I agree with you there. But the child needs to be removed for a period of time. Perhaps to go to, I think it's called Save Our Schools, to go to a different school temporarily while they're even getting some kind of counseling. What is the problem? Has there been a recent death, a separation? There's a reason why a child does this. And so with the counseling, perhaps the child can return back to that same charter school environment. I like charter schools because there's no chance of another child feeling left out because there's uniforms in place. They're challenged to a to a higher power, so to speak.
But now I just want to let you know is that there are some public schools that do wear uniforms.
Yes, they do.
They do wear uniforms. Yeah, they do wear uniforms.
I think that's wonderful. I think it's
but,
wonderful.
I mean, I just have a problem with that. But at this time, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about some other things.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Mommy, mommy, please don't leave, 'cause Chester got something up his sleeve. If you leave, then I can't sleep. He's gonna try to put his hands on me.
Alvin Morton for Lifestyle News. Our top story for tonight is child abuse and the effects it has on the family structure. Film at 11.
Damn! Every time I turn on the news, some way, somehow, another child has been abused. I'm confused. What kind of people do we live among? They must be sick doing the things that's being done. See what I'm saying, y'all? Young children being raped and battered, all they falling victim to the rat-a-tat-chatter. Who protects them? Who respects them when their own family neglects them? It's time we check these mothers and let them know that we can't have this type of madness. Scarring our kid for life and putting others in their casket. It's how we make a change today, so there won't be no more mothers to hear their child say,
Mommy, mommy, please don't leave, 'cause Chester's got something up his sleeve. And if you leave, then I can't sleep, 'cause Chester's gonna put his hands on me. Mommy, mommy, please don't leave, 'cause Chester's got something up his sleeve. And if you leave, then I can't sleep, 'cause Chester's gonna put his hands on me.
a mother cried, slumped over a dead body. A teenage girl in the corner screams. Her mother wants to know one thing. Why? Here's the words of a girl too scared to lie. She said it happened to me first when I was 9. He burst in my room and told me I was fine. He sat me on his knee and said that he loved me. And in these dirty, strange ways, he touched me. That night you worked late at Macy's. Mommy, I prayed that you would come home and save me. 'Cause he did these things, these nasty things to me, Mom. These things, these nasty things. And I told I would die from the pain. It was crazy, the young girl explained. When he was through with me, he looked down and said, you tell anyone your mom and you're dead. She feared for their lives, so she stayed quiet. 5 years of being raped and being silent. 1,825 days she suffered from a man who said, I do this because I love you. Now she's 14, can't take no more. And she knew he kept her gun in his dresser drawer. So she guarded, she saw him, she cocked it. She said, I hate you, Uncle Chester, that's why I gotta stop it.
Who protects our children from the grown-ups' touchy feeling? Now what kind of world do we live in when you abuse our children? Who protects our children from them grown-ups' touchy feeling? Now what kind of world do we live in when you abuse our children?
Now who protects our children from these grown-ups and their touchy feelings? Do we let our kids kill us, someone kill them? Parents, don't be blind to a developing young mind. Gotten started home, and I'ma teach mine. Hey young world, I know it's crazy out there. I know they're bigger and stronger and they get you really scared. But you have to find someone that you can trust, so they can help put her into this madness. You're not alone, no matter what people have told you. Many have been abused, from the unknown to Oprah. Now what I'm saying is let's make a change today, so you won't be the next to hear your child say,
Mommy, mommy, please don't leave, 'cause Chester's got something up his sleeve. And if you leave, then I can't sleep, 'cause Chester's gonna put his hands on me. Mommy, mommy, please don't leave, 'cause Chester's got something up his sleeve. And if you leave, then I can't sleep, 'cause Chester's gonna put his hands on me. Mommy, mommy, please don't leave, 'cause Chester's got something up his sleeve. And if you leave, then I can't sleep.
God bless our children.
Welcome back to Movers and Shakers. Your host, Dr. Kim Best. I want to thank my special guest this evening, Sophia Durrell, for being one of my first guests here on this particular Movers and Shakers program. I'm looking forward to you to coming back in the near future to talk about some other issues in the community. And we've had some very interesting issues tonight about community change, about the Obama campaign, and also about our charter schools as well. And I just want to thank you for being a part of this broadcast, and also to my public and to my community. If you have any comments about this particular program or station, you can always reach me on my website at drkimbest.org, or you can reach me on thornhillradiotv.org as well. And just wanted to say good night to everyone, and stay tuned. See you again.